Hey guys, Youngblood with you. In today's journey through the star map, we're stopping into the Baker system, which is our first binary star that we've covered in this series, which means that there's two stars revolving around each other, and these are K-type stars. This being a binary system, it's drawn a really large population of scientists that have just kind of been interested in studying how the stars interact with each other, and then the lore states that it's really only one jump away from the superpopulated Terra system. But to date, on the star map, there really isn't a jump point between the two. So this leads me to believe that there could potentially be a good opportunity for a science or exploration vessel to really find this jump point and connect the two systems for the rest of the player base. Or maybe the star map just needs to be updated. Either way, Baker was first discovered in 2508 by the same crew that actually first found Terra. Now, Terra saw this immediate boom of development and population, but Baker was sort of just left to sit there as it was determined that binary systems rarely really offer much in the way of habitable planets because of the way that binary stars have that crazy gravitational force that causes a lot of stress to the inner planets. It actually just sat unexplored for over 150 years until a group of scientists made their way in just to see what it was all about. Now, this wasn't the, hey, let's go get rich, or the, hey, let's go expand our empire type of jump. It was the, let's go see how crazy this place really is type of trip. And since this jump was funded by Terran scientists, the commercial rights to the system were awarded to Terran government, basically making this a suburb of Terra. Baker has 4 planets in orbit around the twin stars, and for the most part they're uninhabited. And all 3 of the inner planets were completely crossed off the list as candidates for human settlement, or really any profitable mining. Basically, with terraforming off the table and nothing of really any value, they've kind of been just ignored for the most part. Baker 1 is a small, and like a lot of other systems, the planet is just star-scorched, and it's just totally barren. Now, it does have an interesting trajectory thanks to the gravitational pull of the 2 stars, and it's likely that it's eventually sort of just going to swing into one of the stars within the next 150 billion years or so. Baker 2 is another smog planet, small, but with an extremely poisonous atmosphere that also happens to be corrosive. How corrosive, you may ask? Well, that's a pretty good question. A freelancer crew piloted by suspected gunrunners decided to try and hide in the smog, and in that process they found the hull of their ship just started to dissolve right in front of their eyes. That corrosive. The planet isn't quite as impacted by the gravity of the stars, quite as bad as Baker 1, but that still doesn't make it a good place to be. Baker 3 is an ice giant that's steadily growing. We don't really know why, but it's another reason that scientists have really been coming into this system to study and try and just kind of figure out the mystery of why this planet is just growing. And then we have Baker 4, a planet with no atmosphere and no magnetic field, but it's the one planet that really offers any value. Baker 4 has extremely dense minerals, and those rights are currently owned by the mining giant Shubin Interstellar. Now, there's some mining facilities on the surface, but that's really about it. So you could potentially pick up contracts from Shubin to do work here, but you're not going to be able to just come here legally, mine on your own, and then sell for a profit. Shubin's going to want a piece of that pie. Baker's primary population is really housed on Xenia, which is a Kovalex shipping hub that was really built to support the booming Terran shipping industry. And while it was initially constructed as just a support facility, it has really just kind of grown leaps and bounds as people can avoid some of the higher taxes that you pick up by selling within the Terran system. Typically, people are flying in, selling cargo here, and then operatives from surrounding systems are buying there and delivering back to their final destinations. This is sort of a middleman operation that I'm sure means more convenience for the transporter and probably higher payouts, but could mean higher prices for buyers in Terra as a result of this pseudo-service standing in the middle. Xenia is a ring-like space station constructed with stores, docks, repair facilities, and hangars. And this is going to be a really great place for those of you that are interested in becoming cargo runners and merchants. Not only is Terra and Gem very close by, but there's a lot of guidance from job boards, facilities. You can pick up crew members that are available at this station that really are going to add a lot of benefit to those of you that are interested in this, on top of already having lower fees. So this is going to be a really perfect place for those of you that are interested in transport to start your careers at. But even with that being said, the reason most people know about Baker is because it's home to what's become known as the most dangerous race, and that's the Able Baker Challenge. This race is held every 6 months, and competitors that are registered only get a 24-hour notice that they need to report on the date that was, up until this point, a mystery to them. The race has pilots really traveling amongst the inner 3 planets, and the 3 parts that are all connected via quantum jumps that you can only use at specific locations. And you start out around Baker 3, then this location has a lot of ice crystals that are not only going to negate your ship's sensors, but it also impacts your visibility. Past that, you head into what's called the Breathing the Vapors leg, where you have to race extremely close to the toxic atmosphere of Baker 2. And a slip up here could mean hull damage, or it could mean death. And then you head to Baker 1, where this becomes a battle. You're allowed to shoot and try and destroy or really disable your enemy's ship. However, you're not allowed to kill or shoot a pilot who's willingly ejected from their ship. So you're only allowed to shoot in the 3rd stage, but it's not uncommon for people to open up earlier to try and get that competitive advantage. It's not allowed, but people still try and do it. And this is going to be unlike other races where an M50 or a 350 may be preferred. Because I think in a race like this, something that's close in speed, something like a Saber or a Gladius, but brings a lot more weaponry, may end up being a better option. Either way, winning this race is a huge honor, and it's something that most racers end up bragging about for the rest of their lives. So outside of transports and racers, who might find value in this system? We already talked about miners being able to come in and pick up contracts, but I think salvage crews could end up making a killing here, especially if they get here at the right time. They say that amateurs and victims, their ships are just kind of littering the inner planet. So bringing a reclaimer or maybe a retrofitted cutlass in could be a great idea to get some scrap to end up selling. In addition, the repair side of things could be really good. So if you have a Crucible or another retrofitted ship that's capable of doing repairs, I think that they could come in and help kind of repair these ships at a fee for racers that have ended up taking damage. I also think that Starfarer crews coming here to provide fuel to the racers could be a decent idea as well. And finally, I think that info runners and explorers bringing in like mining location information and transport information to Xenia to really update the job boards or maybe just to sell to private operators could make you a pretty penny. So the system is actually pretty interesting for a desolate place, so I really do encourage you to come check it out, if nothing else, just to come see the binary star system. So if you have questions about any of this, please let me know. Otherwise, like always, stay tuned for a whole lot more content. I hope you guys have yourselves a wonderful day, and take care.